Hello and welcome back to the Dungeon Masters Guild House, season 2. I'm calling it season 2 now. Yeah, we've had a brief hiatus over the holidays, and now we're back and we're kicking 2020. I was about to say 2020. 2021.
Not again.
No, not again. In fairness, I think 2020 got a bad rap, and I think we should just kickstart again. Give it a better start. But no, again, I can't think of any better way to kickstart a new season and a new year with Sebs, better known as CurseofSebs.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me. How are we doing today?
Yeah, good. I'm excited. A little bit perplexed because I'm not quite a Dungeons. Yeah.
Well, so this is how I get away with it. I always say, people in the DMsGuild and surrounding space, and in the same way that it's getting to chat to sort of like streamers and again reviewers like yourself. It's kind of like a good opportunity to get an insight that most people don't. I mean, obviously, most authors are probably one of the things is like, oh, it's really nice to get your product reviewed, and I'm sure there's just as many authors out there like, how do I do that? Is that a thing that we can do? How do we just ask?
Yeah.
But off the bat, I do again. I kind of mentioned as we were recording prior to recording. I'm a little bit curious. The name CurseofSebs. You don't again. Nothing about you seems particularly cursey.
Well, it's a little bit lame in the fact that it kind of came up with it when I started DMing a Curse of Strahd campaign, and also I have fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, so like it's a bit like a curse. It's kind of just playing on that sort of thing.
Oh, fair. Yeah. So it's sort of like a empowerment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair. That makes more sense. But yeah, no, I think I've kind of mentioned this in passing like a few times that in this podcast when people come on and sort of chat about people in the community that kind of inspire them, your name again comes up multiple times without question as would you be like the DMsGuild like unofficial like cheerleader or like
werebear of hype. Yeah, been very much the kind of DMsGuild kind of unofficial cheerleader, and then I'm really trying to make an effort to do more of the indie space as well now. So yeah, just all TCRPG and creative stuff.
Well, I was going to say, what's it? You're repping some indie stuff at the moment as well.
Yes, I'm also the Wretched, Loot the Rooms. I just got this, came through the other day. Very excited.
No, exciting. Well, I guess the first question and kicking off this podcast then is, so how exactly did you get started with reviewing then?
So, like, it was a couple of years ago. I think it was Warriors of Sehanine, the Florian Emmerich, JVC Parry, and Ashley Warren adventure. Kind of saw the trailer on Twitter. I just joined Twitter, and as soon as I saw the trailer, I was ridiculously hype. Hype is a very thing that I spend my time as the werebear of hype. And I just fell in love with it. I'd never seen an adventure like quite crafted like that, especially not something that was unofficial.
Yeah.
And I just loved it to pieces and ended up writing just a lot about it. And then it kind of got a nice kind of people seem to enjoy the writing style, and I just kind of went from there. I'd done a few bits and bobs before, but that just was feeding back on things that I'd enjoyed. But it was really, Warriors of Sehanine was the thing that really got me going.
Yeah, was it Florian? Well, like, was it Poison Pot Press? I think.
Yeah, Poison Potion Press.
The advertisement and stuff like that they put together with like the sort of like animatics and stuff like that is. Yeah. I can see why that was really sort of like the drew you in.
Definitely, yeah. And her name is escaping me right now, but the artist that he always works with is incredible stuff.
Yeah. No. I must admit, in one of the privileges of sort of writing DMsGuild content and getting in contact with artists is seeing them bring things to life. And you hand them a napkin with like a stick man on it, and over the course of like two weeks and stuff like that, they come back with these beautiful illustrations. I actually probably that again with Florian again. They showed me what was essentially the scribble that they handed over for Birds of Paradise.
Yeah.
And yeah, the again, it all this is kind of what I want, and when you spend the 30 minutes like with crayon, you go, I want it looking like this, and then the artist goes, okay, yeah, I can make this happen, and then they go away and they weave their magic.
Definitely, just write "cool penguin surfing, please," and then it comes back looking the way it does.
Yeah. No, so yeah, so that was essentially kind of the gateway to writing reviews. I take it. I imagine then that you were playing D&D a fair bit beforehand.
Yeah, so like I said, CurseofSebs was the first campaign kind of DMing that I'd done. My partner was running. So we started off. There was a group of us from Friday Night Magic playing Magic the Gathering, and we all got together. A friend of ours started playing Dark Heresy. We all played that for a while, and then my partner started running Pathfinder. And I think there was a Humble Bundle a while ago, so we jumped on that, and then we jumped across to Storm King's Thunder, and it's all sort of rolled on from there. It's been, I always think it's only been a couple of years, but it's been years and years and years for all the things now.
So I think it's So was it the I must admit I've only recently started DMing CurseofSebs. So was it I never owned the hardcover, and then what was it with Revamped coming out? I was like, that seems like a nice little box. So I have been enjoying running it. I had a curious event last week. I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to talk about it.
No, of course.
They've found out, they've met Arena, and now they know that they want to get out of the village of Barovia, and they've been warned about Strahd and his castle Ravenloft, but they were just like in Madame Eva's card reading, it kind of said that 2 of the artifacts they need are in Castle Ravenloft.
That's tricky.
That's made them curious about Castle Ravenloft. So they, in last week's episode, they went knocking.
oh wow! Not invited.
They went straight up there. The drawbridge was up, the gates were closed, but they were causing troubles, trying to bust out a grappling hook, and one of them's equipped with a bag of bagpipes. So I just had Strahd come out and invite them in, and now they're in Castle. They're like level 2. They're in the Castle Ravenloft, and
wow.
I'm curious, so do you have any sort of similar tales in running CurseofSebs?
It was a bizarre one because I was running it just for my partner. They were running 2 characters, and then because this was before the Essentials kit, so I actually just spec'd up Irina and her brother Ismark.
Ismark,
yeah. I had him as a Gloomstalker, and I think I had her as a paladin of the Morning Lord, and just so they had like a little team. And I made a few kind of little adventures that were kind of ideas that were my own, and this kind of undead butcher very badly took them out. But luckily, I'd already sort of set up the Strahd, had taken quite an interest in their main character, who was this moon elf wizard, and so kind of set up this very bizarre scene where I had Strahd really playing himself as this charming, erudite, like just really nothing like they were expecting.
Yeah.
All the while, secretly, Irina was been taken to the dungeon and swapped out. So yeah, I think there's a polymorphed one of his were-rats. So yeah, we have not played for a while, but my way in, if you play again, will be, can Irina escape? So like a one-shot to see like if we get back into the campaign that way.
No, I must admit, I've been dying to sort of like dig in and try these sort of one-on-one adventures that are kind of now popping up on the DMsGuild and stuff like that. Just because, I think it'll be curious to see how it translates to a more sort of, I guess, like it's like an innately intimate experience and stuff like that. You're not necessarily competing for the glory with you and your 4 other friends, or worrying about the rogue being rogue.
Disappearing off 10 rooms ahead,
or just like we go into the shop and the rogue's like, how many pockets do they have? And it's like they're just going about their business. So I guess Curse of Strahd tangent aside.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I'm curious then about how exactly you go about your review process then. Just because again, I'll be honest, I'm not in the hobby of reviewing products. I just churn stuff and throw it out into the void.
So one of the main kind of ways I like to do it, I do like to try and read through and then go back, but the way I really work is and one of the reasons I think I do my kind of such in-depth, almost line by line kind of process that I do, or paragraph by paragraph, is I will mostly go through it as I'm reading it and make notes and kind of, I really like to take, if someone puts a heading or a part or a chapter, I want to reflect that someone's made an effort to make this part is delineated, so I will try and give that the kind of the attention it deserves. So I try and literally kind of go through it, in sequence, which is maybe not the best way of doing it, but no, it's an interesting way. It takes a while.
Yeah, in fairness, I think it kind of like depends on the product, because I must admit, there's not many things that like you need to see the whole package necessarily. You can again, you can break down adventures, you can break down subclasses by this is one particular subclass. You don't need to necessarily see them like in comparison to one another.
So like a group of archetypes is great because you can just kind of talk about a little bit about each one, give an idea of the whole thing. Same with like, I can't treat an anthology the same way I would treat an adventure. So I used to pick one adventure, give that the in-depth treatment, and say I'll come back, and I will hopefully come back, but the eternal spreadsheet of many says it's unlikely, even though I'll try. So now the overview for larger things is necessary.
I must admit, tackling and reviewing an anthology is I wouldn't know where to begin. You would think like maybe start at the beginning, but then it's like there's so many in there. Like, was it sometimes like excess of like 20 plus?
Yeah, there's been some there's just so many incredible anthologies, and like I want to run all the adventures, but like you're never gonna have a chance to run all of them.
No, it's still the case where I'm sometimes envious of the like DMs by profession. As a fact, like you just have the opportunity to like, okay, well this week we're doing this one shot. As a fact, the pie they're gonna go along for the ride. But it's always that balance of like when I basically I haven't had the chance to run too many hardcover books, and right now I'm running Curse of Strahd, and Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
Very nice.
But it's always like the case of like there are some times where I could maybe like crowbar in a spicy one shot.
But that's one of the things I really enjoy, and I think something that really makes things stand out. For instance, recently, Call of Winter by Ashton, not Duncan, the other one that I'm terrible at, always tagging the wrong person. They have got similar names, but Call of Winter, it's a Rime with the Frost Maiden adventure, and like seeing what people do with an existing like hardback and just how much they can add to it. This one, for example, uses a character from another DM's Guild release, which just completely changes the focus of the adventure, that actually you kind of like following her journey to the Frost Maiden. So just fascinating what people can do within the bounds of the existing campaigns.
I think supplemental products, there's a reason why they kind of do well. Like you see them sell like a good amount of copies and stuff like that, because again, the hardcovers are great for what they are. Again, I love them and stuff like that, but there's so many different ways to sort of give them a unique flair, or to more tailor them and stuff like that. It could be the case of taking this introductory adventure, that, as you mentioned, kind of shapes the whole campaign. And just by tweaking a few names, you go, okay, well, instead of this being, another explorer, whoever it is and stuff like that, it's someone's parent, and then, that everything kind of evolves, kind of unfolds from there.
Just sort of rolls on. And it's like, for example, like Teacher's Torment, like I know that it's set in Waterdeep, not necessarily around Dragon Heist or anything, but when you put something in a place where a campaign takes place, it's so easy to either use it on its own or use it with it.
Yeah, that's something that it's always the balance when you, at least when it comes to writing adventures, you want the trade off to it being either so integral to like an existing hardcover that or you have something that's could be used anywhere. And it's hard to get that balance between the two, because again, the more you tie it to Waterdeep, the less applicable it becomes. Still, you can't just slap it in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
You could try, but it requires a little bit of finagling. So back about your, I guess, review process then. Going almost paragraph by paragraph and stuff like that. Like, is it? Do you write as you go, like, or is it more the case?
Yeah, so I make a lot of notes as I go. Maybe too many now to kind of whittle it down, but yeah, it's funny. I think sometimes I may have even written more words than like a one shot actually has in it, which is always always funny.
Yeah, like I said, the process of reviewing something can be, again, you sometimes have to dig deep, so it kind of understands why you can sort of pull out a lot of.
I think one of the things that really kind of really after Warriors Ending, something that really like made me like I enjoy this is occasionally I would do a more like stylized review. So the first review of the year I've done is Christian Icon's Strahd's Dark Servants, bringing it back to Strahd, and it's kind of got very Morkborg style. Sorry, trying to pronounce it correctly. But some of the writing is quite amusing, and like I've kind of gone line by line, not quite refuting, but like responding directly. Like there is a zombie that Strahd keeps in a barrel because they're a friend. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that seems like a perfectly normal thing to do. So just like silly rebuttals to things. And the thing that really started that was Killer Kobolds from Outer Space, Oliver Darkshire's.
Yeah.
And I just went ridiculously just purple prose, talking about it as this like true high work of art, because it is amazing, it is quality. And I think getting to write in such I have a very quite verbose and over the top kind of way of speaking anyway, but like really leaning into that when you're talking about these like killer kobolds, just I like the juxtaposition of things like that.
No, I must admit, I mean, you again, as a review, you have that freedom and stuff like that, and I think it's a case of like, and like again, I imagine what being again it steers it away from necessarily feeling like a critique. Which again, when it comes to like certain products and stuff, again, authors are understandably, not territorial. Maybe a little bit defensive at times, which again is natural. People are putting their work out there and stuff like that, and to have a lighthearted, again, well-meaning review and stuff like that, it summarizes it nicely. And
that was taken really well. In fact, it's other creators are the only people I've ever had that have taken positive reviews of others' works kind of badly. It's never been a critical response. It's funny. People, there's definitely some professional jealousy from time to time.
Which, it's unfortunately it's the nature of the beast in some parts, isn't it? So I guess I'm curious as well. So if the I guess, is there not the trade-off though in writing a very sort of colorful review and stuff like that? I imagine that takes more time than one of your more traditional.
Sometimes I think the thing particularly with the Killer Kobolds one is it got good to me, and I was just really just enjoying and flowing with it, and that kind of gave me the spark to kind of to go with it. But yeah, sometimes it can. But again, with the Strahd's Dark Servants, I was able to just sort of bounce off each line in some ways when it was like a description of the history of a character or something. So it's not too much more.
So I guess then on like to draw back a little bit then, as you're reading through a product, is there anything in particular that you're looking for? Like,
I think that things can go very many different ways. Like they're not trying to reinventing the wheel can be a great thing. There is like taking the adventure design and just telling a story in a great way, that's entertaining for the people playing it, but also is written in a way that the biggest thing for me is, especially as I read so many, is I want to be entertained and feel enjoyment reading the product. So I want the DMs that are going to be reading the things to enjoy them as well. So that's a big part. And then, like I said, with Cool Winter, taking something that changes the status quo while working within it so well. There's been some great guilds and factions that I've seen that just are written in such a way that, as far as I'm concerned, they've always existed because they just feel so grounded. Or going the other way and just creating something completely new. That's a really all over the place answer. But
no. I kind of get what you mean. It's again the nature of reviewing and stuff like that is each product it kind of brings something different to the table. And to say that you go into a review saying this has to have 7 brand new things, it has to reinvent 3 wheels.
So number one, I want to be entertained, and I want the prospective buyer to be entertained. Especially because I'm never going to get to run a million of these adventures. My OBS library is ridiculous. So it's going to stand on its own as a piece of entertainment, whether it gets to be used as an adventure or supplement or not, I think is a big thing.
No, I must admit, I remember reading I think it was on D&D Beyond, a article that with Chris Perkins. And in it, that he pretty much says is the fact that at the end of the day, DMs are going to be in writing adventure, someone's going to be reading it, and you should be making every effort to make it an enjoyable experience. Which is why I find adventure writing is a spiky beast. You are writing for so many audiences. You are writing for the DM that is reading it. You are also writing for the DM playing it. You are writing for the party as they play it. It's a hard balance, and it's easy to sort of go over the top with descriptions and paragraphs. And again, that's another thing is sometimes being concise is key. Sometimes you only provide the information you need to, but then sometimes the only information you provide isn't very interesting to read. To be oh, there's a room here where it has nothing of value. It's you could just say nothing of it. I'm losing my mind.
An interestingly shaped stain on the wall, perhaps. Because there are, going back to Strahd in Death House, there are rooms that don't really have anything going on. There's a bathroom or something, water closet, and I just had things clanking and bits coming up, which again could have been improved. I'm definitely not critiquing Chris Perkins, but there's always something to build on, I think.
No, I must admit, there's so many things I'm kind of fascinated about, in reading adventures and stuff like that, is because you never necessarily know the constraints they were made under. And I know that obviously products, particularly hardcover books and stuff like that, some of them are worked to a very, very, very accurate word count. And it's who knows, that in that toilet in the Death House, there may have been 3 pages worth of descriptions of all the monstrosities, or it's a secret point, thankfully it is a case of when in creating your own content, you don't necessarily have those restraints, but again, it's a balance, and I'm sure. I don't know, but I imagine there's been probably a few cases in reading adventures where you've noticed there's been some sections that have had, maybe more time dedicated to them than necessarily others.
Yeah, I think it's about getting the entertainment into it, and also if something is a bit more perfunctory and doesn't have as much moving, just being able to move on from it, because you don't need to build every wall. Something that really helped me as a DM, and I'm hoping to bring into it when I start creating stuff, is no one other than you can see the sticky tape holding things together. Your players never see that. It seems like a seamless world, even though you're oh my god, it's all cobbled together. And I think letting it be that is great. Also, people have very strong opinions. I find myself very kind of in the middle. There's a big movement for bullet points to give you all the information you need, and then you can put it in your own words. And sometimes I absolutely love that when I'm running an adventure. I love a good bit of box text, I don't want 12 pages of it necessarily. I might enjoy that reviewing it, like reading it, but like I don't want to read that at a table.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's balance is a big
No,
thing.
and that's another thing as well. It's like, yeah, there's I imagine coming as as a reviewer, I take it again. Your reviews are coming from your lens and stuff out of how you DM and how you roll. Which is like anytime there is a sort of box text knife fight of like no, there needs to be box text and everything of like no, you only use there. I no, again, I think we kind of share values in that. It's like I do appreciate good box text. But again, for the third, the third toilet in a mansion, maybe it doesn't need one. Maybe it
No,
just
yeah.
yeah.
I think a good example, the Blood Hunter, Anthony Joyce's, which is also a duet, which is good fun,
Yeah.
but that has like some introductory box text and like epilogue box text, but most of the way through is a lot. He is a big proponent of the bullet points kind of system.
Yeah, no,
So yeah, you can use a bit of both.
yeah, no, I must admit, yeah, I must admit, I feel like sometimes I flip flop depending on the projects. Some projects are very much like box text heavy, other ones are, because I think, at least personally, I think if you are if you're writing an adventure that is based in a set location, it lends itself more for the bullet point lists, just because you have a series of rooms that kind of need vague descriptions. A lot of the stuff I'm doing at the moment is more kind of encounter driven. And that kind of lends itself to, because dynamic action is happening. You kind of need to explain what's going on. So that's kind of how I balance the two. Is like, okay, is this a static environment or is this like a and that's but yeah, no, I guess I'm curious. So you mentioned was it so kobolds from space?
Killer Kobolds from Outer Space? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
And have there been any other sort of like particularly standout products that have just kind of been a delight to read?
Oh, like I get very happy, get very excited. There are so many that really stick out. But for instance, Vorpal Dice Media, Steve Fiddler's the Amaroon's Almanac series is incredible. Mask of Theros, the campaign from I always forget people's names, but Kat Evans and Liz Gist, and I can't remember the other lady's names off the top of my head.
While you are talking about other things, I will go on the hunt.
Yeah, but just so many. I really enjoy a lot of the third party stuff as well. That doesn't necessarily come through the guild, like Underground Oracle. They have their own whole world. They do a lot of stuff on Patreon and Drive Through, and just the way they present either their supplements, factions, and locations. They're just really building their world in such a wonderful way. I really enjoy that. And Gregerson's Monster Loot, like my players will now loot everything all the time because they just love it so much.
See, I must admit, I again, Ant's products are amazing, but I feel like I'm slightly hesitant to introduce them to my players just because I don't know what that might unleash in them.
It definitely changes them.
But again, it touches on an important thing, because there is always that moment of like after an encounter, there is always a case of like, what do their bodies have? It's they can't help them. Players are just like instinctual looters.
Yeah.
But again, before we get away, so Mask of Theros was Kat Evans, Steffi Devan, Christian Ikhon, Beatrix Diaz, and Oliver Darkshire.
Oh, right, yes, yeah, and there's a few on there, so thank you for
again a star-studded cast.
Yeah, definitely. That's it. There are so many. It's impressive how, especially because I do so many reviews of all these people. Like, there's obviously hundreds and like so many people on the guild, but like the actual kind of hit list of heavy hitters is huge. And like obviously there's lots of people that will work together in like smaller groups, and then like crossovers, and people that stay very much away from each other or used to work together don't work together anymore. And it's impressive just how many, not celebrities, but stars there can be even in this world. It's seriously impressive. Like I've got a list of names here, and I realized there's millions of them that I haven't put on just because it's hard to keep them all in your head.
Yeah, no, I must admit, I think it is always that case of, at least when I first started, you do see the sort of again a collection of names that kind of occur, and I don't know what it is, but about smaller communities is the fact that the bigger names within the communities, they seem like superstars. They seem like this person is on another echelon.
Oh yeah,
And I can't even be within their presence because their writing prowess will burn me away. And again, realistically, hopefully, I think everyone kind of goes through the process of being within the community for like 2 to 3 years. Again, you see all the names come up frequently because people are joining up there. But just chat with people. I mean, we're all D&D players. It's 9 times again, no one is.
Yeah. For the most part, people are so lovely. Like the Twitter community, like people talk about how much Twitter is a hell site, and it is, and even the D&D community definitely can be. But there is there's a lovely core of people, and I don't even really create stuff. I do the reviews, and really I've become quite good friends with lots of people just by talking to them, just inserting myself like politely into conversations and things, not just like jumping on people's lawns, but turning up and trying to be nice and trying to like talk to people does genuinely work, and I think you can gain a lot from it.
Well, I suppose, the thing is obviously you are providing, again, an invaluable service and stuff like that. It's a case of like reviews help sell products, and stuff like that. And just the opportunity to know that someone out there has read your work is 9 times out of 10 more gratifying in itself. It's the fact that you are taking time out of your schedule to just like pour through someone's words that they maybe spend somewhere between like 3 to 7 tireless nights churning on. It's just lovely, isn't it?
Well, again, I've thoroughly enjoyed a bunch of your wonders that I mentioned. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, but Teach Tyke. How are we?
So here's the thing: is I think I always used to call it Tyke, but I think Ginny corrected me by saying I think it's Tai Chi.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Like lychee.
Like kind of like So Tai Chi. I think so. To be honest, that's the thing. You're working with fantasy names in D&D, and also
it's pronounced Guinea.
Yeah. I'm gonna. I've been butchering a name all these years. But that's another thing as well. Is with Tai Chi in particular, it is they are dead. They are a dead god. So I'm sure they won't mind too much.
Of course. So like, I don't want to beg your time too much, but like talking about things I look for. I went around. I didn't know really about them and the kind of the tie-in with, is it with Lathander?
So was it? So they have a mixed law with both Lathander and then obviously Bashaba and Timor.
And like there was just looking into that, something that is not prevalent in 5e at all. Like it's kind of a forgotten thing to a certain extent, and just like making that just always have been there. I know it has, but it hasn't been here for this kind of generation. And just finding these old gems. I think that's a big thing that DMsGuild's got people do, is just find wonderful things that are like kicking around in the corner of D&D and like giving it a really nice modern shine, and that's something that can be wonderful.
No, 100%. Like, I mean, like one of the benefits of a D&D being within its 5th edition is you have all these other editions to kind of go back, and there's a good amount of stuff that has been swept under the rug. But there's also, as you kind of mentioned, the other stuff that honestly and just doesn't fit within the sort of ideology of 5e anymore. And it needs those sort of like revamps and removal of the arguably problematic, mostly problematic.
A lot of problematic stuff, but like even that, like very Snow White's kind of and under the rug. People have done wonders with it. There's Eugene Marshall's Ancestry series is incredible. Adam, I always forget his surname, but Adam that makes TTRPGs. Hancock, yeah. And I'm sorry, I'm so bad with names. But an elf and an orc have a baby. And there's Lydia, Mother of Goblins, is the half-race handbook. There's just so many wonderful discussions and things have come from this kind of problematic thing of race and problematic elements. And things turning on their head. It's like one of the first projects that I've kind of joined that I'm really excited about is Brittany Hay and Cameron Day's Not Another Monster quest or adventure. And it's going to be all about having kind of monstrous races and things as the quest givers and seeing them as much more the people that they kind of should be, because it is weird that we have savage races that are sapient. Like, that's weird.
Yeah, I guess it's so weird because trying to kind of like merging like real life with fantasy world and stuff like that again, it is natural to kind of like draw those sort of parallels, and that's when you kind of see the things like this isn't, that's not quite right, that's not how things should be. But you touched on a good point. So you are actually involved in a project at the moment.
Yeah, so I think it's called Not Another Monster Quest or Adventure. So yeah, very excited that I've had a few ideas, like a hag bakery. I love the idea of a night hag leading a bakery, and they're called Prue Hollyberry. So they also hold baking contests. Yeah, contests. So yeah,
I meant it's like, here's the thing: anytime writing content and stuff like that, you're at liberty to throw a few puns in there.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It's I think it's your obligation. I don't think you get a choice in it.
Yeah. I entered my first jam that I didn't realize was as short as it is. That ends like ridiculous clock in the morning because it's American time, so I've got to finish that tonight. It's a random generator of exquisitely pointless treasure.
Oh, nice.
It's been fun to kind of come up with.
No, I must admit, the one of like my personal favorite little things to do is when it comes to like random tables of things and stuff. I just because you kind of like the sort of random possibilities, you're not really constrained by anything, and it's a case of like any and everything goes, and you just kind of crowbar them in there. I am curious though. It's like, how have you found the I guess the move from writing reviews about churning through and reading so many like products and stuff like that to now starting to write some yourself?
It's exciting. It's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. But again, kind of very nervous. This year is the first year I'll be doing the RPG writer workshop, which is now the Storytelling Collective. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, I think we'll see how it goes with me working with people. But I've got quite some good graces, so I think I get to be treated quite nicely and work with people. So I'm very excited to be doing that. And I did English and creative writing at uni, so it's nice to be getting together, especially the more creative side of things. So yeah, I really look forward to that.
No, I guess again, it's again, reading all your reviews and stuff like that. I think you're more than qualified in writing any sort of content. So I don't think you've
kind
got...
of you.
But no, I guess is there anything? I guess the is so taking the sort of like hag bakery and something like that.
Yeah.
These sort of experiences, are those like, if you were to go on to write other projects and stuff like that, are these the kind of sort of experiences you can kind of see yourself writing and kind of aiming towards the sort of
rehabilitating or like taking things? I definitely like the idea of that a lot. I kind of want to try all sorts of things. There's my partner and a friend, Inky Ginge, who has done the workshop before, has a great adventure out. We have the idea of like trying to work with rehabilitating enchantment magic in some ways, and just taking some different approaches to see how that can work. My partner has a big focus on making that they always play wizards, and Pyromaniac Press's Blackstaff's Tome of Wizards has not helped. They will never play anything other than a wizard again.
There's a good number of wizards in there, I think.
Yeah, but like having a way of increasing the charisma of a wizard because there's always going to be a dump stat, but having enchantment be focused on the user much less on the person it's being used upon. So yeah, like definitely the idea of taking things that are either turning them on the head or yeah, taking another look at them.
No, I must admit, again, I think I've had this conversation once or twice before, but I think I am in the school of thought that like enchantment is the evilest school of magic without question. It's like you can bring me back for dead, that's fine, I'm dead, but like I don't know, making me fall in love with you, that's evil.
Yeah, like some certain players and paladins ready to kill someone over gentle repose. It's like,
this is like paladin. We need to sit down and chat.
Yeah.
It's like this spell saves you. Okay, this one you won't die. This one, No, it's kind of interesting. No.
But back to Strahd, gentle repose can be used quite strangely as well.
Oh, really? What happens with gentle repose and Strahd?
So spoilers for something in Valaki, but the Waxer house, she's keeping her husband in the bedroom under.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. A little odd.
I mean, listen, everyone has hobbies.
Yeah.
No, actually, yeah, no. So basically, I would have been preparing Valaki content for my party had they not ran into Strahd's home.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, some of the advice I've seen is, especially if you get things drawn into the castle, is to come up with reasons. What they've obviously made themselves go, but maybe Strahd wants them to have a play about and see how dangerous roaming the castle is, and just kind of watching and taking care. That can be a way of giving them a chance to try and get hold of these things.
I think at this moment, the party at the moment, they've kind of been swept into the world and everything, but they're not entirely sure why they want to be facing Strahd yet. Yeah. So I'm going to use this as a good opportunity to be like, yeah, dude's evil. Like,
oh yeah, can we make the point quite well? Can be quite easy.
Yeah. So there's exciting things going on. It's funny because they left Ismark and Arena outside the castle a little while away.
Right.
So I think they're going to find that Ismark and Arena are going to be brought to the castle because again, Strahd has spies everywhere.
Yep.
And now Strahd has Arena. So we'll see how that unfolds.
Awkward.
Yeah. So again, that's what I kind of again. It's what I'll be honest. It's something of a chaotic party. But I just love the sort of the weird pitches they give me, and that I just have to work with. I was going to throw them at the bone grinder, and now they're in Strahd's house.
Yeah, but, I think my players wait for Morgantha to go out and kill the other hags, and if we pick it back up, Morgantha is out there with a vendetta.
and hopefully a good number of dream pastries.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess then. I must admit I could probably spend a good amount of time talking about Curse of Strahd. Again, I'm enjoying it. I can see why a lot of people kind of love it as their sort of campaign of choice. I did kind of want to ask though about like when it comes to like your reviewing process then. Do you have like a favorite part? Like what is the thing you love the most about it?
I think you sort of touched on it. So there's so much content, and people putting so much of like their heart and soul and people like speculating with their livelihood and things. And I love to be able to I always say when people either approach me or I approach people for reviews and things, is I live to get as many eyes as possible on the wonderful things folks like yourself create. It's like kind of one of my like mission statements, and there's great stuff out there, and I want people to see it. So that, and I love a good story. So I love there is definitely a certain part of I do it because I enjoy it. Yeah. Yeah, I call it my hobby jobby because both myself and my partner are disabled, and we're actually each other's carers. So I don't actually like our job is to look after each other. So this is my hobby jobby, and I feel it's a nice way that I can kind of give back and do something as well.
No, again, and yeah, again, it's lovely, and I think again, it comes across in the reviews that this is like a passion project, and again, you're not just sort of skimming through, going, three out of four, star stamp, or whatever it is. Again, not to be too much of a pessimist, but is there a part of the reviewing process that you don't necessarily enjoy as much?
So I have it. When I started, I was ridiculously positive, and I'm still incredibly positive. But one thing I find tricky, but it is now a real passion project for me, is it's tricky, but addressing things that are problematic is something like I can. There's things that I will still give a 5 out of 5 review because it is incredible, as long as I can address something that isn't too like heinous. Like, for instance, we all use kind of stigmatizing mental health language very easily. We say things are mad or crazy, and so taking time to really bring those things to attention when I do a review, and kind of link back to like mental health charities and things, and just really try to make people aware of it, is not fun, because I really don't want to cast aspersions or make people feel too bad.
Yeah.
But also it's rewarding because I think it's a really important thing to do.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, in the case of like, in some cases, it's the case of the author is coming from necessarily a blind spot, or or just their life experience has kind of led them to not notice this stuff, and unless someone raises awareness or lets them know about it, they can't actively change.
No.
Yeah. So
and people have been very responded very well to it, which is really, really nice.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to the thing of like, you're not a mean spirited character. You're doing like, haha, I've got them. I finally win. it's and the fact that it is the part of the process that you like, again, is not take problem with, but it's it's a downside to have to kind of, but the fact that you still sort of put that on yourself to is it's incredibly honorable.
I think that's very kind of you, but yeah, it's something that will take more time because you want to word things right, because it's very very easy to be like, this person is terrible, how dare they.
Yeah.
And also, in a way, like if things are too egregious, it is definitely going to affect the score and the overall, but and a way of like marrying up the quality and kind of thrust of the supplement or adventure as a whole with this bit highlighted, if that makes sense. Like they, some of our like favorite media is very flawed, but they're still incredible things.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is the case of like the moment you sort of put something, under like a microscope, not necessarily under a microscope, but as you're going through, essentially, giving it like a good level of scrutiny, that is when the flaws come out, because again, it's the authors, they're caught so much in the bigger. Again, it's the case of like sometimes the authors are in the bigger picture, and as a reviewer and stuff like that, you sometimes you go section by section. You're in the sort of the.
Working within the lore and the frame of D&D, which isn't always great, and working with the societal thing isn't great. Like, it's not easy to not have these. We all make these things. We're all human, and we all have issues, or at least humanoids of some description.
I mean, I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't speak for me.
But yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And yeah. Again, it's. Yeah. I'm just gonna say yeah. I think we'll spend the rest of it. Yeah. No. So I guess so. One thing that I think might be useful then for like the people listening, particularly like authors and stuff like that. What is the kind of best way for like someone to go about if they want some of their content reviewed?
Best way is just to ask. I think that's the best way to do it. So for me personally, if you have something coming out in advance and you can give me warning, because I'm easier to work to dates, because it means I don't have to look over behind me at the huge pile of things that I need to get to. But because again, I think I put up a post a while ago, sort of saying like, I definitely not hoarding all these things and like laughing, but I can only kind of scattershot, like grab things and review them when I can. Because again, as I said, with my condition and my partner, like there are times when I'm wiped out and can't do anything for a long time, or you might see me do 10 things in a week. It works very. But yeah, I mean, I would say just ask people. Just say, would you like to, and offer them a review copy is the easiest way to do it. Like I could never afford. Like I spend more than I should already because I want to support people, but I can never afford if I was to buy every single supplement as much as I would love to.
Well, I mean, again, it's like an equivalent exchange and stuff like that. You are, you're asking for a review and stuff like that. These things, they don't materialize out of thin air. They require time and effort from you. And I think the very least you can do is a £15 supplement. It's again,
it's tricky. Is that you don't want it to be. Yeah, a few people have asked like, could they pay me as I got? I that's something I would never want to do because that feels like it gets into a murky territory. I know there are people who do sponsored reviews, and again, I'm not saying anything wrong with that, but for me, the supplement itself is it. And if someone wants to throw me a Ko-fi, they can throw me a Ko-fi. That's that.
No, I think you touched on a good point. Is because the moment it becomes like a paid review and stuff like that, it's people don't want to like accuse you of I forget what the term is.
Ethics and games journalism.
I mean, I'll be honest, Sebs, I wasn't to use that particular phrase, but
I obviously use that at jest.
No,
definitely not a game person.
No, but I mean, I think it is that case, and it's a case of like with a review copy and stuff like that. It's not the case of like no one is out of pocket. It's the case of that, and I mean, you like, games journalists, you hear all these stories about paid reviews and stuff like that, and
But put it out there. Just ask. Go on a Facebook group. Go on Twitter. Just say, does anyone want to take a look at this? And I'd say that's the best way to get someone to do it.
I think I heard you talk about right towards the start of this. You mentioned a spreadsheet.
The spreadsheet of many terrifies me.
How extensive is it? How bad are we?
There are hundreds of things on it. I'm really bad at also with. I will pick up every free and pay what you want thing that's going with the intention to eventually review it and then pay for it if I'm able to. So I think people were taking pictures of their like unreviewed account things on OBS, and I think mine was like nearly 6,000 things that are unreviewed. I've done hundreds in the last couple of years.
I remember feeling bad once because I think I had it around like 50. But again, I must admit your OBS account is slightly different. Again, to go through and just go take all. You actually want to go through and
So I definitely make the list worse for myself, but I like that's the thing. I try and put things into sections and like try and prioritize like charity things or like new creators. But honestly, like if there's a date coming up I can work to, that's great. If not, I might just see what my iPad just gives me straight away. Not iPad, is it a tablet? Just gives me straight away. No, it isn't that. I don't know why I said it.
This is we can't mention brands on this podcast.
But just maybe just whatever I can get my hands on. So it is quite a chaotic process. No, again, most of the things that I buy, I never actually get to as well. It's. I mean, again, I imagine so much good content.
I was to say, if anyone has felt the sort of like influx of new creators and new content on the DMsGuild, I would argue you probably feel it the most. There's so much. I can't hold all these lemons.
Yeah, it's like the first time they did the bundles for the IBQ Writer Workshop. I was like, great, bought them straight away, and then there's like 7 volumes. And there's a couple of volumes of drive-through ones as well, and it's like, okay. Yeah, pick them up as I go.
Yeah, I must admit, yeah, I think that for me is like the biggest sort of symbol for how the sort of interest in the DMs Guild and writing has grown is just looking at the difference between the RPG Writer Workshop publications. I think was it saying tenfold? I don't even know if that's an underestimate.
Yeah, I definitely. I think just huge on and on, because I think that people stay on because they enjoy it as well. So they're like, it is growing exponentially and keeping people. So yeah.
It's fantastic. Again, it's only a good thing for the community as a whole to kind of bring all those voices in.
And it's lovely that it's touching on other things as well. I'm very excited to see what Ashley and people do with the storytelling collective and see what that actually becomes.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think it can, the fact that it's expanding and stuff, and can continue growing new and exciting different directions. It's good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
I will get to it all eventually. I'll do my best.
Yeah. No, honestly, I at this point, I don't think it's even like physically possible. I think it's seasonal, so like every few months there'll be another huge. Yeah. So again, all I'm going to say is pace yourself. I want to be reading your reviews years in the future. So I guess then, it's talking about the RPG Writer Workshop and the community as a whole. Then, is there anyone like in the community that you particularly want to, that particularly inspires you, or you want to shout?
Oh, wow. I would say Cameron Day, Direct Productions, is huge. The work that they do and working with people. Again, so I mentioned Adam Hancock. I love the psychics of the guild and just the way it just works with so many new creators. That's something that I really like when I see people going out of their way to work with other people. It's like I've been a big fan of Trevor Armstrong, Grim Press's work, and the adaptable NPCs are amazing. And then making it adaptable NPCs of the guild, I say it so often on people's tweets. It's like, I love to see awesome people playing well together. It's great.
Again, all sort of like, I think it is that case of like with certain creators and stuff like that, they reach that point where it's just like, I can help people get their foot in the door and stuff, and sometimes that's all it takes to like, kickstart a wonderful career or
definitely
hobby.
Realm Warp Media is a big one for that as well.
Again, all fantastic names. So Sebs, looking at the time, we managed to kind of natter away an hour.
Oh wow!
It kind of happens quickly. So I guess before we conclude fully and stuff like that, do you want to shout out some of the stuff that you're working on currently, and where would be some of the best places to kind of keep up to date?
So everything now is going to my coffee, however we're saying it, which is coffee.com CurseofSebs, because OBS does weird things to reviews. It's like recently my Merc Borg, because it's so long, it does these weird like bunches into these just like blocks. I don't really understand why. It goes from Word to that, and it becomes some kind of nightmare. So trying to keep everything on there. And best ways to see me do things is on my Twitter, which is again just CurseofSebs. But hopefully some stuff coming to Itch at some point, and some interesting, just trying out bits and bobs of new projects, and we'll see what happens from there. But I'm all over the place, but mostly CurseofSebs.
Well, like I said, there'll be links to your Ko-fi and I think has it always been Ko-fi, like, because it's meant to sound like coffee. You're buying someone a coffee. I think it's coffee, but it looks like Ko-fi to me. Ko-fi?
Lo-fi,
Lo-fi Ko-fi. But there'll be links to that all in the description and stuff where you can follow in. And
sorry, I'm not trying to just be like,
No. I just said it's good to kind of shout them out, because you never know like how people are listening, if it like they're doing like the audio or like they're hearing the thing. I've gone blurry for a second. Oh no. And we're back. There we go. Hey. But awesome. So again, Sebs, thank you so much for taking some time to sit down and have this chit chat.
Thank you very much for having me. I was very nervous and I was a little bit surprised, but it really has been a very lovely conversation. It's been really nice to talk to you.
likewise and stuff. Yeah, and like I said, the thing I always go for is keep it low, like keep it low. I don't know. There's keep it like copacetic. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. There we go. But yeah, otherwise I've been Matthew Whitby. You can find me at Whitby Writes, where I have some things coming out at some point in the future. I don't know when. It's the future. Who knows? Well, Sebs, my very last question then is how do we end a podcast?
I think we maybe stop talking. I think, and people stop listening. Might be an idea. Get to the end, and stop. But
okay, let's stop then.